Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another excited episode of the Expedale podcast. And here we are in episode number 10. And now, when I was thinking about the future of the Earth, the first thought that came in my mind is about the space exploration, the space transportation, and also to live on Moon and Mars. Maybe this is so excited. But do you know, guys? Have you ever think about how much time it took for a humankind to reach to the moon for the first time? How many scientists and how many people have dedicated their lives for this kind of research and development programs? And do you know how these scientists can get this fictional idea and make it reality? They made it real on July 20, 1969, when Neil Armstrong became the first person who stepped on the moon for the first time. It's tremendous. It's awesome. But I want to let you know that the person, the guest today we have is more amazing than that. Let me share something about him that he graduated from the Bombay University with his degree in physics. And then he came over here in United States to pursue his master's in aerospace engineer. And then he got his PhD and become the most successful entrepreneur over here in United States. Not only this, but he is also the board member of the very renowned committee named as ASEI. Also, let me tell you something about him, that he is not just a scientist, but he is something more than that, that you will understand by getting the conversation going on. And let me share you something about him, that after meeting him, after getting his personality, I was really speechless. I thought this is the person I can get a lot of inspiration from his thought, his idea, his personality, and his powerful strategies to do work in this particular field. So, without any wasting time, let me invite, with honor and regards, I would like to invite a great successful entrepreneur, a rocket scientist, and artist, Dr. Ajay Kothari, who is amazing person that I have ever meet in my life. So let's get start talk with him. So thank you so much, Dr. Kothari, and welcome to my show on Expedale Podcast.
Oh, thank you very much, Shumang. I mean, it is just great to be here, and thank you for inviting me. I'm very glad to be talking about all kinds of things,
Yep,
for space and the future, the
sure.
moon, Mars, future.
Yes.
But we'll talk about also some art, and we'll
Yeah,
also talk about some past also at the
definitely.
same time. So
Definitely.
we'll try to do that.
Yes.
uh, yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kothari, for your words and for your kind information. Also, I would like to say something about Dr. Kothari, that he is the CEO and president of the Astrox Corporation, a company which is dedicated to the research and development program regarding the hypersonic rockets and also some of the space and multiple of the aerospace project related. The company is so renowned that the NASA and the United States Air Force are the customers of it. And Dr. Kothari, I said already that he is the amazing person, but his horizon of the work field is vast and is broader and is expanded in a many other fields. You will get thrilled when you listen him. I know that. And then after you will know that he is not just a scientist, he's an artist and actor as well. So let's start this session with Dr. Kothari and we will talk some amazing things with him. So Dr. Kothari, I'm really delightful to say that we are originated from a common place named Palanpur, a town from North Gujarat in India. And let me share something about me, that when I was a student, when I was a kid, and in my fifth grade, I knew that the chapter that is in seventh grade about the universe, I learned it before going there. And then I started to talk about the moon, the stars, the different galaxies, also the solar system to my friend, parents, and teacher, and everywhere. And this hyped me to pursue this career in my life. But the important thing I want to know from you is, how did you get that fire inside you, and how did you reach your destination, what you want to do in your life, you achieved this? How did you get it? Because the question that I have, at that time, at your time, I think the technology was not so profound. The televisions are rare in India. So how did you make it done?
Well, actually, you are absolutely right that the television was actually non-existent when I was there But I, we came from, I guess, the same school in
Yeah, yeah.
named Vidya Mandir in Palanpur,
Yes.
and then I was very young, I guess, maybe in seventh or eighth grade or something like that. I think
Okay.
maybe 12 years old. I gave a talk to the Vidya Mandir students at that time in
Wow.
Gujarati, of course, no,
Okay.
but on rockets, how the
Wow.
rockets work, or
Awesome.
not really how they work. I mean, I really did not understand it
Yes.
that well,
But it's
but
a
I gave
curiosity.
it. So yeah, so it was just I had to study for that. Then
Okay.
obviously, right?
Yes.
But it's always been amazing that it's possible. It's a third dimension
Yes.
to our world, right? The space can be
Yeah.
infinite almost,
Yep.
well, not almost, but it is infinite. And so it was just very interesting. And learned and I talked at that time that in order to propel forward, you have to send something
Wow.
backwards, to create the thrust and all that. So
Yes.
that's all. There wasn't
Yep.
anything much more than that, but it was always very fascinating to
Exactly.
be able to visit, to be able to think about visiting or imagine,
Yep.
going to other worlds. And we are always, as actually, even as Indians and Vedic
Hmm.
Indians and like that,
Yes.
we have always been enamored and fascinated by something completely different,
Yes.
something outwardly and otherworldly and like that.
Yes.
So, in space always has that romantic romanticism, romantic ideas with it
Yep.
that we identify with as
Hmm.
such. Even though some people might say that, hey, why are you wasting money on space and going to doing all these things and all those, but I feel that we should be doing as a
Yes.
humanity, as not just as Indians, but even as humanity, or not Americans,
Yep.
but as humanity, we should be pursuing different things, and different people should pursue different things. Of course,
Yep.
whatever it is that you are best at, you
Hmm.
pursue that. If you're best at
Exactly.
writing
Yep.
poetry, you pursue that. If you are best at painting, you pursue that.
Yes.
If you are good at rocket science,
Yep.
you pursue that.
Yes.
And that's how we can maximize the impact
Yeah.
on humanity by humans.
Got you.
We don't maximize just by telling the whole country that you all should do only this and
Yes.
nothing else.
Yes.
And not in maximize means optimize also in that
Yep.
sense. So in order to optimize, to make the whole society better,
Hmm.
to make humanity better, to go to the next step of evolution, you have to kind of be willing to do all those things. So that kind of a thing was always there, and that was sort of instilled in us by in some sense by our school, by the principal, Suryakant by Parikh,
Yeah.
and also by the motto that we had, which was called better every day in
Every
that
day.
school.
Yes.
There was
Yes.
things better every day. So in order to be better every day, you have to actually figure out
Wow.
what it is that you are not doing right today
Exactly.
to be
Hmm.
better tomorrow, right?
Yes.
So that was a very nice way to progress. But because of all of those things, I really was very much enamored by
Hmm.
space,
Hmm.
by being able to do something unusual.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how it started.
Wow, it's so awesome, and it's such an inspirational story that you got information from the different sources. Even they are available, the books generally. You
Yeah,
got to know, and then after you start telling the stories, what you thought about it, and how you want to do something like this in particular field,
yeah.
and then your inspiration from your teacher, from your school helped you. to get
Right.
out of the other things and to pursue your career in this particular field?
Yes, yeah. So yes, I mean, that the teachers, I really revere them. The
Uh-huh.
teachers from school and the college here at
Yep.
University of Maryland, where I went to, college.
Mm-hmm.
I have the same kind of a feeling for them, and I have it that I have for the teachers of Vidya Mandir. Uh,
Wow.
so
That's awesome.
it's always been like that.
Yeah. So, Dr. Kothari, how you think about to go to the United States to pursue your further study? Like
Yeah,
you have done your physics over here in Bombay University, and then you think to go to another country. Why United States were there, and how you choose your country, and then how you started to study about it, about your PhD, and how you started this kind
yeah.
of stuff.
Well, this is an interesting story.
Wow.
Now, imagine if you can. I'm sure you can, but
Yeah.
other people, sitting on. My father had a farm,
Okay.
large farm, but a
Uh-huh.
farm nevertheless, in the middle of a jungle, and he was also very curious and interested person in different things. At one time in the mid '60s, before you were born, of course,
Yeah. Mid 60s.
so mid '60s, we were sitting on near our house on the farm in the middle of
Mm-hmm.
the jungle, and there was this advaga living nearby. Also, you know what advaga is probably, or something, or
Yes.
maybe you don't. But it's sort of a either whether it's a panther or whatever, something nearby, living nearby.
Yes.
We were sitting around around a campfire
Mm-hmm.
and trying to listen. And like you said,
Mm-hmm.
we had no television,
Yeah.
but we did have a radio, an
Okay.
old decrepit old radio, Philips radio, and we were trying to listen. We
Okay.
were trying to listen to the splashdown of the Mercury capsule at that time. I think it was Mercury or was it Apollo, but was one of the, I think it was Mercury capsule splashdown after, going around the earth many, many times and, thousands of
Yes.
miles or
Yes.
100,000 miles. And then coming and splash down within 3 mile radius of where they had originally said that they will splash
Yes.
down. So
Okay.
that was so impressive
Uh-huh.
to me, to my father, and everybody that the Americans
Okay.
are doing this and able to do this, and just that to me it seemed like this is how we should progress as humanity to the next level of
Yes.
evolution. It
Wow.
doesn't mean that you should not be doing other things. I mean, in
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
country, people were doing all kinds of things. And if you
Yep.
remember, that was the time of the counterculture revolution going on.
Mm-hmm.
That was also very, very uh, impressive to
Yes.
me that people are asking all kinds of questions and getting unusual answers. But the space
Mm-hmm.
also
Mm-hmm.
was quite, quite a big participant in that. And then
Yes.
to me, they were both part of the same coin, actually. The art and the science
Yes.
are not different. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so this really impressed upon me a great thing about this country,
Yes.
that this is where these things are possible. And
Mm-hmm.
I said, I want to go there and I
Wow.
want to participate in that also. And so, that's kind of thing went inside, deep inside.
Yes.
I was
I
not able
understand.
to do it at that time, obviously. Whatever happened 6 years later because my uncle
Yep.
sponsored me to come here and to go to
Okay.
school and, all that kind of thing. But that's how this United States became, America became a sort of a central
Attraction.
attraction for me.
Yeah. I understand that. It's awesome that you get inspiration from that radio, and that you understand that this country is going to do something regarding what I actually like. And then you started to think about to go over then and you reached that. That is amazing. That's called your dedication, your passion, and your thoughts really lead you to achieve your destination. It's awesome.
Yeah,
And another important question that happened in my mind because of the curiosity that when you came here in United States and you have found the degree in aerospace, and then you got your PhD also in this particular field,
Yes.
and then it's time to become a successful entrepreneur. It's awesome to see you over here, that you have a you are the CEO and the president of the Astrox, amazing company. So how did you started this? How did you started your journey as an entrepreneur? What was your thinking about there, and why it's so important that NASA and also United States Air Force, they consider you?
Well, I think you know what. Um, if you if you have if you have a certain idea about something in this in there is something called small business
Yes.
innovation research program in this
Okay.
country,
Mm-hmm.
where if you have some ideas, then you can propose that idea to them, to the Air Force or to NASA, and later on to some other agencies.
Okay.
And if they like the idea, and if they think that your idea can lead to something,
Mm-hmm.
then for them or
Mm-hmm.
for commercialization, either one or both,
Okay.
hopefully,
Okay.
then they will fund it. And
Oh.
so it's kind of it gives you starting your own company and all that has pluses and minuses.
Yes.
And the pluses, of course, are that you can change the direction that you want to go into,
Yes.
from this kind of science to that type of science, to rockets, to hypersonics, to airplanes, or some other things.
Yeah.
Or you can go and do some research in some other stuff. So you have that ability,
Uh-huh.
which you don't have if you were to get a job and do something where you have to really
Mm-hmm.
continue to do what your boss asked you to do, what your company
Yes.
asked you to do, like that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the plus point.
Yes.
Negative is that there are times when you may not have any contracts or enough contracts to be able to do all these things, or to keep this truck moving,
Yes.
at a fast pace. So uh, the pace becomes slower, and then faster, and then slower and faster. It averages out to be good
Mm-hmm.
anyway. But
Mm-hmm.
these are the two different things. But I like the idea of being able to meld my own destiny, make my
Wow.
own destiny.
Yes.
And obviously that requires hard work,
Yeah.
and the power of your own arms, or whatever,
Yeah.
something like that. It's up to you.
Definitely.
And I like that challenge,
Wow.
so I decided to do it that way. So it's combination of
Mm-hmm.
those kinds of things.
Yeah, so I can see that you want to do something from your side, and you trust on your knowledge, on your skills, on your powers, that you want to change the world the way it is thinking about right now. And you have some potential that you can show to the world. And then after you started to think and to work on your projects,
Yeah.
you had made something to showcase to the others, especially the Air Force and the NASA. And then by getting the funding, that right now the investment sharks are there, they are funding to different entrepreneurs, and by that way you get the government support to establish your own company, and you made it.
Yeah. Well, but I have to be honest and say that
Yep.
um, there have been times, I mean, pluses and minuses.
Yes, I
So
understand.
sometimes the idea that you put forward
Mm-hmm.
to the government is accepted, or they are interested in it. And sometimes you may have a good idea,
Okay.
but still it'll not
Approved
go
by.
through the people who are looking at it, or there are other reasons
I
that
understand.
they want to support something else or something
Mm-hmm.
like that. So that also can happen, but that's all part of life.
Yep.
That happens in this, something else happens for other people in other life, but
Yes.
that's all part of life that you have to live with, and you
Mm-hmm.
have to be willing to live with,
Yes,
and but still continue to persevere, and you're continuing to persevere because for a larger goal, a bigger
I
goal
understand.
of making things better for everybody, if you can.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, if you can, and and not just for everybody, but making things better for science,
Yes.
or for uh,
Humanity.
humanity, for engineering,
Yeah.
science, basically
Mm-hmm.
science.
Mm-hmm.
And you may or may not be successful in being able to do that, but even trying that
Yes.
is a lot of course it gives satisfaction,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also fun when you are doing it,
Yes.
but it does give satisfaction also.
I totally agreed with you that when you pursue what you actually want to do in your life, I understand that there are lots of things. You will get ups and downs in your life. Maybe sometimes you get victory, sometimes you get a defeat. Though you are a
Yeah.
potential person, maybe there are lots of reason to get a defeat from other side. But it's the perseverance that can help you to go ahead from your lots of challenges. And that's why we really like you. We love you about this thing to make your career in such a way that the other people get inspiration from that thing. It's wonderful, Dr. Kothari.
Thank you.
And another thing I want to ask you is the common human point, or the people right now they think about that the person should have to become a technological guy, or a guy like a scientist, or a corporate world person like a manager, or the artist. But I'm so happy that you are actor as well, and I'm proud to say that you are the first member of Screen Actors Guild from the South Asian, and it's really amazing. Your distinct quality, this
But
particular
only
quality.
only for the Washington DC area,
Oh,
not.
sorry. Yeah, sir. For only, yeah, but for Washington area, it
Mhm.
was a huge achievement because no any other Indian guy were there at that time. And important thing is the people, the engineers especially, they have some technological knowledge as well as the quality like this much. They do not show, but from your inspiration, they can come outside from their comfort zone and can show
Yeah.
their potential abilities. So what do you think about it? How this kind of passion to become an artist or to become an actor, how this helped you in your life, and what do you want to say about the experience that you should listen the inner voice of yourself to pursue your passion?
Well, I think that we have to. Well, I mean, all humans have to attempt or try to live as much of a full life as possible,
Mm-hmm.
which obviously combines art and also science.
Yes.
And people say that these are different sides of the brain, or
Mm-hmm.
something like
Yes,
that.
yes, yes.
But I think that basically we have to try to do that. I mean, this is one of the possible beefs I have with engineers, for example, that they don't try to do other things while
Mm-hmm.
they are doing
Okay.
engineering.
Okay.
And I think that probably is okay. So some people don't want to do it. That's fine,
Mm-hmm.
but some people want to do both engineering and science. And actually, I have found many times scientists,
Yeah.
like physicists and others. I mean, I had a friend, a physicist,
Okay.
who was staying here,
Mm-hmm.
and he was a poet also, and his poetry was very interesting and very nice, very fascinating actually.
Okay.
And so these kinds of things that one may have, you should give it a vent. You
Okay.
should give it,
Yes.
cultivate all these things. um, Not only is it good to do that for just your you know for the sake of science or art or something, but it's also good for you personally to
Uh-huh.
be able to feel or
Mm-hmm.
express
Mm-hmm.
these couple of different kinds of things at the same time. So I would say to people that don't suffocate yourself.
Wow.
Do these things as much as you can, don't
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to overdo it, in the sense that, let's say, you have an exam in science
Yes.
tomorrow, or a week from tomorrow, or something, that you start painting today or something like that. No, you
Uh,
do that at that time, but whenever the time is semi appropriate, may not be completely appropriate,
Mm-hmm.
but even semi appropriate, and also at the same time, if you are getting some kind of inspiration for painting, let's say,
Yes.
then do it at that time, but don't do it if your exam is tomorrow, in science.
Yes.
Get up and start painting. That's
Definitely.
so that's fine. I mean, that kind of a thing. But I think that basically what I'm saying is that you should allow yourself these vent
Mm-hmm.
to express other parts. We are, our brain and everything is made up of various different needs,
Yes.
and we have to be able to fulfill those needs also, and not just us, but
Mm.
sometimes the painting, just like the hypersonic airplane or a
Yep.
rocket, a painting can give a certain type of feeling and a pleasure to other people too.
Yes.
And so I think that kind of uh, all of those things are good for people to do.
I understand. And you said this amazing thing, don't suffocate yourself. Let express your feeling, what you feel about yourself, as well as for your art, your passion. And also, the last thing that you have said, let's say it's a painting. You are drawing the painting like a hypersonic aircraft. But I want to point out the Leonardo da Vinci, who have designed the first aircraft officially. It's a painting just, but it became the design resemble like the aircraft, and that's why I can say every scientist or every artist, they have both of the personality, but just they have to bifurcate them.
Right. Yeah, they have to, they have to do that.
Yes.
Yeah. So Da Vinci's helicopter, right? The
Mm-hmm.
concept of helicopter was obviously there.
Yes.
Of course, there was a different time, and now we are in a different time. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want people to get so enmeshed
Mm-hmm.
in just simply what they can find
Mm-hmm.
on the iPad or iPhone or something
Yes.
like that. I think that you you can use that
Mm-hmm.
for other things that you should do also, but
Definitely.
don't make that to be your end all. Uh,
Ah, I
that
understand.
that is one of the issues that I have with the younger generation actually, that
I understand it.
they have it's a good thing, it's a very nice good technology, but
Yeah.
don't forget about art,
Mm-hmm.
don't forget about literature,
Mm-hmm.
don't forget about other things
Yes, I
that we
understand.
have to continue to produce also.
Yes, and for the evolution of the humankind, for the human manners, we need to understand that out of that digital world, there are a real place, real world. We need to think about it. Yes, this digital digits, the equipment, they can help us. They can
Yeah,
help us to explore these things, but they are not the end point for our
yeah,
life.
they're not the end point in that sense. That is something that has happened with human beings,
Yep.
humanity, and human beings. After well, let's say at least 1 billion year of different kinds of evolution
Yes.
that we have gone through on Earth, for
Mm-hmm.
example, and maybe millions, billions of different species that have and gone,
And
come and gone, come and gone. The Permian, all those
yes.
explosions and things that have taken place.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very interesting that the human beings are the only ones who ever thought of all these millions and billions of species,
Mm-hmm.
including dinosaurs in it and
Mm.
everything else.
Yep.
But we are the only ones. Human beings are the only ones who ever thought of using clothes
Wow.
for us.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why was that? So if that is the kind of thing that has happened,
Mm-hmm.
then we have to not that we are
Mm-hmm.
uniquely qualified to be better than other species. That's not what I'm trying
Yes,
to say.
I
I'm just
understand.
saying that something did happen, and that means that we have to continue to feed
Mm-hmm.
that curiosity of our mind that occurred,
Yes.
probably, that
Yes.
mind and combined effort of many different people
Mm-hmm.
that occurred, which didn't occur with other species,
Yes.
but somehow or the other that occurred, and we need to continue
Mm-hmm.
push that. And that requires that other people who have different ideas, different thoughts, art, literature, poetry,
Yes.
science,
Yes.
all of those things should be pushed
Mm-hmm.
as much as one can,
Yes.
and that's just kind of why
I
I'm
understand.
saying this.
It's totally phenomenal ideas that you have said with us. And if I will go to the past, and I have seen some of the videos and some of the programs of
Yeah,
your talk about the space tourism as well as, and now we are seeing the success of the SpaceX for using their
yeah,
reusable rockets.
right.
And I also have seen your talk in maybe 2013 to make something like that, and you have designed your own design for the reusable rockets. And that's why I want to know that what is the speciality or what is the uniqueness of that rocket that can help the human race.
Yeah, I think that is it's very important, and I mean, I give a very sort of a lame example
Yep.
of what it means is that if you were to go to from here to New York in a car, and you
Uh-huh.
were to throw away that car in the ocean there and buy another one to come back or something like that, how expensive and
Yes,
wastage of human resources would that be, right? Not
definitely.
just expensive, but
Mm-hmm.
it's also a wastage of human resources,
Mm-hmm.
Earth's resources. So along both ways, along both lines, I think that's really bad.
Yep.
So if we were able to reuse, but we obviously reuse the car to come back from New York.
Yep.
So if you were able to reuse the rocket,
Mm-hmm.
it makes things much cheaper. When I
Mm-hmm.
was doing all these things, calculations,
Mm-hmm.
and I was looking at the numbers of the cost
Mm-hmm.
of this thing, I found that the cost of the fuel to go from one place to the other, or to maintain that craft, to make sure that that rocket would take off correctly,
Mm-hmm.
expendable rocket, take off correctly, and all those kinds of things. And the fuel itself was minuscule,
Mm-hmm.
only 2 or 3% of the total cost. And most of the cost was actually in manufacturing this
Okay.
vehicle
Mm-hmm.
and building. I mean,
Mm.
building and designing and manufacturing this particular vehicle.
Okay.
And then it is what is called acquisition,
Okay.
acquiring it, or acquisition cost.
Mm-hmm.
Acquisition costs were about 97% of the total cost.
Oh.
So if you don't have to acquire that,
Mm-hmm.
and if you can reuse this thing with some what is called refurbishing, which
Okay.
means maintaining or something like that,
Uh-huh.
it would be so much cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
And that, not only is it cheaper, but when it is cheaper, it opens up so many more avenues for
Yes.
doing different things that
Yes.
we otherwise could not have thought about.
Mm-hmm.
And so that kind of a thing is that made it very important
Mm-hmm.
that we have the reusability in rockets that we didn't have. And
Yes.
so I wrote several um, op-eds, what is called op-eds, opinion pieces and did the calculations and wrote all
Mm-hmm.
these op-ed pieces in newspapers and other places.
Okay.
And I'm very glad that that's the way things seem to be going
Mm-hmm.
for the commercial companies like
Yes.
Bezos' commercial company, as Elon
Yes.
Musk's commercial companies,
Mm-hmm.
SpaceX and Bezos' new Blue Origin.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them are gung ho on using reusable rockets.
Yes. And it's really amazing thing that you have discussed about this topic in 2013 or maybe earlier than that. And it's a happy moment for both of us as an aerospace engineer that the thing is going in the way that what you were thought about it. And it's the moment when we are getting acceleration in this particular field.
Yeah, I think yeah. So it's very good. I think it's making a big difference in
Mm-hmm.
being able to do this, and I have some other ideas about using this reusability
Mm-hmm.
to be able to go to the moon even faster
Okay.
than what NASA is planning to do. Excuse me,
Okay.
NASA is planning to do using these reusable boosters. And so the reusable boosters, and of course they have not yet done the
Mm-hmm.
reusable upper stage, which is the
Yes.
orbital stage. That has not been done,
Yes.
but that'll be also that is being done by SpaceX in some sense
Mm-hmm.
for a much bigger vehicle called Starship, but
Exactly.
even smaller upper stage. But at this point in time,
Mm-hmm.
even just using these reusable boosters
Mm-hmm.
of either Blue Origin, which is called New Glenn,
Yep.
and or of SpaceX, which is the Falcon Heavy,
Yes.
and then of course they'll have Starship. But
Mm-hmm.
even using those, and even if you don't do the upper stages reusable, if you were to take the upper stage, what you do is that you have 3 or 4 flights
Okay.
from Earth to the low Earth orbit, and then you combine the upper stages there together, dock them together, and
Mm-hmm.
make it bigger. Then from there, if you were to take all of them to the
Mm-hmm.
moon or most of them to the moon surface,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can use these tanks
Okay.
as habitats for people to live in. And
Yes.
so, in some sense, it's called reusable. It's a reusability of that,
Mm-hmm.
or it's called repurposing, but it's a
Yes.
reusability. And you can put them, place them. I mean, I was doing a radio show
Mm-hmm.
a month ago or so, and we
Yes.
talked about putting them in the lava. There, in on the moon, they have many lava
Love.
tubes.
Yeah.
So you can go into this and place them in there, and then there is another company called Bigelow, which has been making inflatable habitats, so that can, for example, go into some of these tanks, and it becomes a place for people to live. Uh,
Wow.
and so it may be um, even before doing the upper stage, reusable upper stage,
Uh-huh.
this is a reusability of
Yes.
that. So that's why I have been pretty strong and proponent of
Mm-hmm.
reusability for rockets and
Mm-hmm.
reusability for the upper stages, and of course the booster stage already is. So
Yes, and it's really helpful to save the resources, the money the first thing, because it took a millions of dollars to go to the moon, and we are wasting it by not using it again. So, yeah, your point of view, it's a really true story, and that's why we, as an aerospace engineers, as a rocket scientist, we need to work on that to go ahead with that. And I have seen some of the projects, and from that, some of the project, I have seen that you and your company as well as the Jeff Bezos, they think to go and acquire the moon for the first time, and or you want to use moon surface to explore the space beyond than that. Now, simultaneously, I can think about the Elon Musk and NASA. They are working on the the Mars mission right now. So what do you concern about it? Why you want to go to the moon for the first time, and how you want to explore the world, I can say the universe, for from that side as well.
yeah, well, I mean, it's just the in terms of travel time, the moon is 3 days away
Mm-hmm.
from here, from Earth,
Mm-hmm.
and Mars is 6 months away.
Oh, it's a
So
huge.
let's say that if you have somebody who gets there's a problem and gets sick on Mars, you're living on Mars and get sick,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't have any doctors on Mars yet,
Yep.
kinds of things, and a doctor is not going to make house call or something. I say that often on
Definitely.
Mars. They don't make a house call here
Ah, yes.
to my own house here in Maryland, but so obviously that's not going to happen. In any case, I think that before we actually pan out and go and try to live on Mars, we
Mm-hmm.
have to become really an expert in low gravity living environment.
Okay.
Mars obviously has zero point 0.4
Mm-hmm.
gravity, and the moon 1/6.
Yep.
I mean, Mars is one fourth, and moon has 1/6 of the gravitational force on the surface, as Earth has. So they are in sort of a similar neighborhood. So to go directly to Mars and try to do this thing without going to, this thing is right there, and the God has given it to us somehow or the
Mm-hmm.
other.
Yeah.
It's only 238,000 miles away as opposed to Mars, which is so much more. And even um, communication time between Mars and Earth would be so much more,
Mm-hmm.
and so you cannot really do that very well, live communication too
Yes.
well. So all of those things, and of course, Mars has atmosphere which is
Yes.
100 as thick as
Mm-hmm.
Earth, so that's different than Moon, which has none.
Yes.
But most of the Mars atmosphere is CO2, so we'll still have the same kind of issue about
Issue.
taking the tanks and breathing apparatus outside
Mm-hmm.
if we have on Mars, as you would on the Moon.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a lot of similarities between the between that, but
Mm-hmm.
this thing is only 3 days away. Why would
Yes.
you not do that first? Become an
Exactly.
expert in, just if you have a hammer and you are hitting a hammer on a nail
Mm-hmm.
in 1/6 of a G or 1/4 of a G,
Mm-hmm.
it's a different kind of a movement
Yes.
than it will be on Earth. The hammer itself has a weight,
Yep.
and there the weight is not there, so you have to put.
Exactly.
So you have to learn to do all those things,
Okay.
and the people who are going to live there have to learn to do all those kinds of things first.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we have been God has given this thing to us.
Yes.
If we don't use it,
Mm-hmm.
we are really stupid. And,
Exactly.
and why would you want to go and try to go directly to Mars, where you could have all kinds of issues and problems, and people could just simply die and not be
Yes.
able to come back. So to alleviate all of those things, in my mind, it's absolutely clear
Yes.
that we should be going to the moon, have 1,000 people or hundreds of people living there,
Uh-huh.
and not all of them living there permanently or anything
Yes.
like that or for years. But I mean, I could imagine, for people going there for 2-3 months,
Mm-hmm.
do that, do the work that they need to do to build colonies or
Yes.
build, things, and explore
Mm-hmm.
and go and try to get the lunar ice and start making things from it,
Mm-hmm.
making water, making oxygen, making propellants,
Mm-hmm.
liquid hydrogen, liquid oxygen. All of that can be done
Mm-hmm.
by having some people going there for 2-3 months,
Okay.
coming back, then
Mm-hmm.
going again, some other people going there. And so at a time, we can have like 1,000 people living there. It will be very exciting,
Yes.
very interesting, and it's not going to be that expensive if we are going to use New Glen's or the Falcon Heavy's
Yes. Yep.
reusable rockets.
Mm-hmm.
So we can kill all of these. We can do all of these things at the same time. I don't like to say kill two birds with one stone, because I don't like to, I don't want to use that.
I
But
understand.
we can do all of these things at the same
Yes.
time, and we can do it fast. We can
I
do it
understand.
quickly. So this is the reason why I have been saying that I think that to some extent we are not doing things right
Yes.
in the country, with NASA and other
Mm-hmm.
places, and we need to do this with using this reusable rocket as soon as possible,
I totally agree.
instead of trying to do it with expendable rockets. And in that case, we can have 1,000 people living there or hundreds of people, and that's what I mean by changing the paradigm
Mm.
of what we can do. The paradigm today is, hey, we can have 5 people going there and visiting and then coming back,
Yes.
etc. Living there for a few days. That's
Yes.
not what we want.
Exactly.
We need to have a humanity needs to evolve, expand, and do other things,
Yes.
and and continue to do other things also, art and poetry and literature,
Yes.
all those things also at the same time. You
Yes,
know,
I totally agreed with that thing, and it's a amazing point that you have said. Before exploring the universe more, but let's just first acquire the nearest planet, or I can say the nearest moon that we have,
yeah, acquire
and
the
just
experience. I mean, I don't, yeah, that kind of a thing. Yes, we need to acquire that experience to
yes,
the T,
exactly.
absolute experience
Mm-hmm.
there, where you can, be very reliable in going there, coming back, going, and doing all those things. It would
Yes,
be so much fun. I
yes.
tell you, if you have cameras, live for these people
Mm-hmm.
for the first time going into the lava tube, you don't know
Wow,
what's going to happen inside. What
definitely.
find. It could be so exciting. And if it is fed to the people here on
Mm-hmm.
Earth, I bet you a billion people would watch it,
Definitely.
at that time. So I think it could.
And yes, because when I am the true I can say the witness of that thing, that every child right now, maybe in my childhood or even your childhood, then not everybody are concerned about this kind of stuff, but now when the SpaceX have done this experiment
Yes,
before few months, all the little kid, they aware about what is happening.
yes,
They
right.
aware about the things what is happening in the world, what is happening with this space and rockets and all the stuff. And that's why your point is really important. When the people will see what is happening in lava tube on moon currently, and
Yes,
they get the videos from that, that can ignite the fire inside them to do or to pursue this thing and go ahead what is happening right now. It's
yes,
awesome. And as I think about one important point, that you want to send the people and to leave and to do explore the moon as well. What do you really think about the current situation of the NASA, and I can say for the United States moon mission? Because yes, as what you have said, we reached to the moon, but then what next? But then what next? If we can't get anything better for humanity, it's a useless thing. So what do you think about it, and what do you think that how the other companies, how the different companies like the colony the SpaceX and also the Blue Origin, they should have to do something to get the strong and fruitful steps for it.
yeah. No, they have to, and I think they have discovered
Mm-hmm.
that this is fairly sure now that there is about 600 million ton,
Mm-hmm.
and 600 million ton, 1 ton is equal to 1,000 kilograms. 600 million ton is 600 billion kilograms of
Yes.
water,
Okay.
ice, in the
Mm-hmm.
form of ice on the south pole
Mm-hmm.
of the moon.
Yes.
Now, it costs about $10,000 to take 1 kilogram of anything to the moon surface.
Wow.
Okay, so if you were to take 1 kilogram of water for
Mm-hmm.
people to drink over there, that would cost $10,000, and obviously how much water people would have to drink if they were
Yes,
to live there for a month or 2 months or something like that.
I
So you
understand.
have to take all that water with you, or you have to remanufacture that water from urine and all that kind
Yep,
of.
I understand.
So all those things have to be done,
Mm-hmm.
which means that that water ice which is on the moon, which we can get
Yes.
by mining,
Mm-hmm.
and cleaning it up, manufacturing, all those kinds of things, that is worth trillions of dollars. Six, actually, if you multiply all those numbers,
Mm-hmm.
it's worth $6,000 trillion.
It's a huge amount.
It's a huge amount.
Yeah.
The 6,000 trillion, the GDP of this country is in
Yes.
$20 trillion approximately,
Yep. Yep.
in that neighborhood. So this is so much more. So this is the kind of resource that every country is going to go after.
Wow.
China is going to go after that, and other countries will also go after that, to be able to mine and to be able to um, acquire it for their
uh
colonies that they build.
yes.
These things are important. This water ice is very important
Mm-hmm.
for as a propellant, because
Mm-hmm.
from this water ice, which is made of H2O, which is H2O,
Yes.
made up of hydrogen and oxygen, can
Mm-hmm.
be separated out using
Yes.
solar energy or some other energy
Yes.
into liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen, and then you can refuel your spacecraft
Yep.
on the moon surface.
Okay.
That will allow you to go to Mars, that will allow you to go to the asteroids, allow you to do many other things.
Mm-hmm.
And since moon's gravity is one-sixth that of the Earth, escaping the moon is cost one-sixth as much as
Yep. Yes, you're right.
or as Earth. And so all of those things together make it very useful
Mm-hmm.
for these companies, Bezos company or
Mm-hmm.
Elon Musk company, to be able to doing this, to be able to do this thing commercially
Mm-hmm.
on the surface of the moon, and not just them, but maybe other countries, India, China,
Yes.
Russia, European countries,
Mm-hmm.
Australia, all of those countries would be interested in, and they are going to be very interested sometime or the other. And
I
they'll keep
understand.
it quiet, but
Yes.
deep down we know that the Chinese are very highly interested, and others will also be interested. And we Americans need
Mm-hmm.
to be interested in that too. And
I
that's, you asked me about the direction that
yes.
NASA is taking.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say that I think that they're taking overall direction is good, but I think some of the things that they are doing with where they are using space, planning to use space launch system
Mm-hmm.
to go to the moon and all that is just not the right way,
Mm-hmm.
because we are going to have to take 1,000 people there or several hundred people there,
Yes.
and and associated infrastructure there.
Yes.
To be able to do that, we need reusable.
I definitely totally agreed with that. And when I have seen Jeff Bezos' plan to make a colonies over there,
Yeah,
to make different kind of infrastructure over there, it was so amazed. And that's why I think that the direction that you have suggested to get the moon for the first time, because competition is going and growing very fast right now. The other
yeah,
countries, they are also participating in the space competition, and it may be not good if we are not ahead from then.
yeah.
Then maybe the different situation can be happen. So
Right.
it's a wonderful point of view. And after this point, the thing is, we have talked about the different benefits from the space and the space exploration, and also about the colonies and how it can helpful for the humanity. But I always think about the different possibilities have the both of the side, the positive and the negative. So
Yeah.
if I am thinking as a critic about the space exploration, what do you think that are the major dangers that can be happen from the space exploration? And as you have discussed the different countries over there, so what do you think that can happen in the future if we not take it seriously?
Um, well, I guess that we can. There are a lot of things that have happened because of the space, and these examples are given all the time. And I mean, I'll just state a few here.
Mm-hmm.
That the space exploration is the reason why we have these satellites in geo orbit,
Yes.
in geo,
Mm-hmm.
where weather satellites which tell us what what is happening, what is going to happen, and you can predict.
Yep. Yep.
And many thousands and thousands of lives are saved
Mm-hmm.
because of able because of
Yes.
the ability to predict that this storm is coming, this
Mm-hmm.
hurricane is coming,
Mm-hmm.
prepare for it, all those kinds of things which didn't happen 100 years ago, you know
Definitely.
and people would just simply die. They would not know
Mm-hmm.
that the storm is going to come. I mean, all they will have is oh, the clouds are gathering here, and so,
Mm-hmm.
so what is happening tonight or tomorrow or
Yes.
something like that. They don't know
Mm-hmm.
that the hurricane is going to be here, and people would die. And a lot of people, even in 90s,
Yes.
I can't remember the name of the hurricane that came in Florida, and many, many. uh, people died. So all of those things, the space exploration is the reason why
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't happen today, which is a huge thing. The
Yes.
space exploration is also another the thing why we are able to do what we are doing right now. We be able to talk to each
Exactly.
other this way through the GPS and the GPS, of course, and be
Yes.
able to talk through the communications and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So to be able to be short sighted about these things and just say that, like I said before,
Mm-hmm.
we need to, those people who are doing these space things
Mm-hmm.
well, they should continue to do space things.
Okay.
Those who do painting well should
Mm-hmm.
continue to do painting. We, as humanity, we need all of those things.
Exactly.
It's not just one thing. Don't ever say that, don't do this. Don't
Yes.
ever say that.
Wow.
Do this and do that and do this and do that. But don't say that, don't
Do this.
do this particular space
Yeah.
exploration or something. You're not going to know
Mm-hmm.
what can happen and what can happen or what will happen. You don't know this.
Mm-hmm.
These things at that time,
Mm-hmm.
in the 40s or 50s, before the Sputnik had gone up and well, all of those things that had happened,
Yes.
we could not imagine that all of these things that I mentioned here
Mm-hmm.
would happen.
Yes.
And people didn't know that all of these things would be, it would be possible for all of these things to happen, to have
Yes.
the geo satellites and to have GPS and to have communication satellites and all of those things, massive number of them, I mean,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
to be able to do that. So we didn't have that ability to imagine that that would happen, and it did. So
Yeah.
I expect that some other unknown things will also happen, and
Mm-hmm.
those are the intangible benefits of
Yes.
this. But at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
I think that the human stomach is not the only thing that needs to be fed. The human
Yeah.
mind also needs to be fed,
I
and this is
agree.
what has separated, uh, well, not separated. I don't want to de you know devalue animals, but
Mm-hmm.
because I love them,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying that all of those things need to be also pursued at the same time. So don't don't ever tell somebody
Mm-hmm.
that no, you should not be doing this. We
Yes.
should, as a society, we should only be doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
don't like that. I just don't think that that's a good thing in the long run for
I
society.
totally agree with you because when you are exploring something, you are getting something that even you didn't think about it before, like the satellites that you have said about him. And I agreed with that. Maybe we are using too much resources from the earth right now. Maybe we are using too much fuel for the rockets and for that kind of system. But also, we are trying to get another different fuels for the humanity. We are also going to get another source of the energy for the humanity, and that's why the space exploration is important, though there are some kind of dangers.
Yeah, so that we are doing that, but the fuel that goes into rockets is
Hmm.
minuscule compared to the fuel that actually goes into the cars.
I agree
And
with that.
nobody, minuscule, meaning
Yes.
really, really minuscule.
Hmm.
And to for someone to make an argument about that,
Hmm.
that is just ridiculous, and that's
Yes.
really, a red herring.
Yes, because that's what I have seen in some of the talk and some of the TEDx
Yeah,
talk and all.
yeah,
So
yeah, right, yeah. So I mean, it's nonsense.
yeah, I totally agreed with you, and that's why we are here to have the humanity. And it was really amazing conversation to get the knowledge about the science, but not only the science, the use of the human potential, the use of human abilities to help the not only the human but the universe, or I can say the world on the earth.
Right.
And by our efforts we are doing that thing, and you
Mhm.
helped us to think about more that particular aspects is really awesome. So now we are going for the rapid question answer session of the
Sure.
podcast, and it's like a small questions and the small answers. So let's get start this one.
Yeah.
I particularly ask these questions because we want to evolve, and whether we know or don't know about the people around us, what they are doing, we cannot grow beyond them, even like them. So the first question I ask is always about what's your morning routine.
Oh, okay. See. Well, I think that the morning routine is to have a large cup of tea,
Okay.
first. So that's kind of a thing that I learned from my home in India,
Yes.
in
Yes.
Kanpur. So
Okay.
we would gather around, and lots of people would gather around, and family members, and
Mm-hmm.
have many cups of tea in the morning. So yeah, the first routine, and since you want this in short answers, is
Yeah.
to have cup.
No, I understand. And I used to do that also.
Okay.
So the second question is, as an entrepreneur, what is the most difficult task that you think?
Uh, well, I would say that the most difficult task sometimes is that um, I think that the Indian Americans um, are not, or even Indians and Indian Americans are not really um, getting their worth
Mm-hmm.
in this, whether in this country or in the world,
Okay.
at this point in time. And the most difficult task is is that we need to be able to not demand, but at least make it known that the Indian Americans are contributing a lot, even just in this country. They are contributing
Definitely.
a lot, and a lot really,
Mm-hmm.
and compared to their size of the population and all that, they are
Yes.
really contributing a lot. But they are really not getting their due recognition. Let's put it that way, and
Yes.
that is true here in this country, but that's also true worldwide.
I understand.
And I think that the difficult task, is sort of a generalized task that has become difficult. That people are not um, waking up
Mm-hmm.
to. I'm talking about Indians or Indian
Yes.
Americans, are not waking up to realizing or pushing, I guess, or not
Mm-hmm.
pushing, but requesting their
Okay.
due,
I understand.
in that sense. So,
I totally agreed with you. And
that sort of makes it more difficult to do things here also. So that as an entrepreneur, that is a tough task.
I totally agreed. And I have seen some of your talk regarding the ASEI,
Yeah.
and you are really doing amazing job to raise a voice, to raise the awareness voice for the Indian American community, and is really helpful for us. I wish I can join you later in this particular point. And the third question that I want to ask is about how much time you spend to sleep, because it's important for me.
Oh, how much time I spent doing what?
Sleeping.
Oh, okay. Actually, I sleep maybe 6 hours at night,
Mm-hmm.
but 1 hour in the afternoon. So
So you call as a power nap?
yeah, I do call it a power nap, and then with that, I'm able to work much more in the evening than if
Wow.
I didn't do that, and I'm able to work until say 1 o'clock at night. And work by work, I mean maybe reading. I'm
Yes.
reading different things, different
Yes.
books, historical things, which I
Hmm.
love to read about, even including the history of ancient
Yes.
Vedic India,
Wow.
that kind of thing. So it's just um, um, helps you to.
Yes.
So yeah, so 6 hours at night and one in the afternoon. So
No, that's
seven
that's
total.
really helpful for me, as well as I have heard a lot about the power nap and I
Yeah.
consume that thing as well. So I am glad to hear from you that things.
Yeah,
The
many
fourth.
people are surprised about that here, because they don't do that. But I think that's a mistake. But anyway, and it
Yes.
also keeps you quite healthy, much
It
healthier.
keeps you quite
That
healthy and productive simultaneously.
productive surplus. And if you are healthier, and if you are able to add you know, I don't want to talk that way, but 15-20 years to your life,
Definitely.
a lot more time
Yes.
that you'll be able to give to
Yes.
the earth, you know.
Exactly. And that's amazing point because it doesn't matter how long you live, but if you living to help the others, and
Yeah.
by doing something like this thing, you are enlarging your life to make helpful for other. It's awesome idea. Then I really love this. And the next question that I want to ask is about your favorite book and author.
Oh, uh, well, actually, my favorite books are books on ancient Indian history,
Okay.
and I guess my favorite author is um mm, Michael. I can't remember his last name, but
Okay.
he lives in India. Actually, he's Frenchman
Mm-hmm.
who lives in India and used to live near Pondicherry. I think now he lives somewhere near in Tamil Nadu. Actually, a French.
Okay.
But he
Okay.
has written and done a lot of work, and he's written a book on the origin or the lost
Mm-hmm.
river called Saraswati,
Oh,
and that was a fascinating book. So that became my favorite
favorite.
author.
Yes,
And then, of course, there are many others
I understand that.
besides that. You know.
Yes, yes, got you. So this is amazing. I got a new thing from you, and I will definitely read that book as well. And the last question that I want to ask is about what is your ultimate goal in your life? And you already proved your goal, but how do you want to help the humanity, or I can say the world, the people in the world?
Well, I mean, I want to help humanity um, in moving to the next level of evolution
Mm-hmm.
uh, through science and art. Basically,
Yes.
um, go one step more, climb one more step in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
um, I can, I mean, I can very well appreciate other people who would also, would be
Yes.
interested in helping people, and people and all those things, and those things are also there. But I also have this other goal, which is
Mm-hmm.
that we need to find solutions to things, many things.
Yes.
What is the universe? Where is the universe? Where does the universe end?
Mm-hmm.
What was the Vedic civilization of India like?
Oh.
When did that occur?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would really like to be able to do those things also at the same time. So that's why I was talking about,
Yes.
future and past.
Mm-hmm.
Both are extremely interesting.
Yes, so you wanna combine that future with the past of the ancient India, where they are using these kind of aircrafts. They know how the universe and how
No,
it's
no, no, no,
expanded. All.
no. I don't necessarily believe that, but that's
Okay,
not what I mean. That's not
okay,
what I mean.
okay,
What I mean by Vedic civilization is that it is absolutely amazing to me
okay.
that the people who existed at that time
Mm-hmm.
were able to think
Mm-hmm.
um, of think at the level that the people who wrote or composed Rig
Mm-hmm.
Veda
Okay.
wrote.
Yes.
So that is amazing to me, that if and how it was possible. And this, if you read this book about Saraswati, how it disappeared
Mm-hmm.
3000 BC, etc. And that means that this all other things happened before that. How did they do all those things
Mm-hmm.
at that time, which is even earlier
Mm-hmm.
than Egyptian or Chinese or
Yes. Yes.
Mesopotamian civilization?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I mean
I
by
understood.
being able to. Uh,
I understood that, and the conversation that we have today is phenomenal. We just learn a lot of things, your thought
thank
and
you.
your ideas regarding many of the aspects. And I'm a science geek, and I know what the importance of the science. But simultaneously, I'm a true believer of the art and human science. And during this talk, we have learned not only the science, but also we learn that the passionate person can achieve his life goal, the biggest life goal, with the strong mind power, dedication, and as per Dr. Kothari says about the perseverance. And life has many more aspects that you have to concern about it. And when we are learning from this session, Dr. Kothari have said his vision, his idea, and also his journey of life to empower our mind to think a lot more about the future of the earth and to do some action in order to help the humanity. As a scientist, he sought for the nation and for the whole humanity. As a painter, or I can say as an actor, he showed his gratitude towards the different passion and for the different artists. As a painter, he is describing the human creativity of mind on the paper, and by that way he helped a lot. And I can say this chat, this conversation is one of the best conversation that I have ever had in my life. And the things that Dr. Kothari is doing, exploring the world, doing the passionate thing, don't you think every person want to do in his life? If yes, then please follow and listen Dr. Kothari. He is the amazing person, amazing scientist, an artist and an actor as well. And I truly believe in him and his idea as well. And Dr. Kothari served a lot of things to the humanity that we have to respect him. Thank you so much, Dr. Kothari, for joining us today and for your really, really amazing, tremendous, mindful conversation with us.
Uh, No, it's just it's not any of those things. But thank you very much. But I really enjoyed talking. I enjoyed your questions, and and hope I was able to answer some of them semi literally.
No, it was wonderful and tremendous that the things that we got is overall about the human life, if overall about the future of the earth, and how we as a human, not as a scientist only, but as an artist, as a human, as a painter, we can help the humanity to grow beyond the limits. Yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah. Thank you very much. But I mean, yeah, we should try. We should try to do things which and not just humanity, but this hopefully can help
Yes.
other beings on earth
Yep.
also, and
Definitely.
which we all love.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you. Thank you so much.